Let's talk about niceness. Now, for a majority of my young life, I would say that the one title or the one label that I desired more than any other was this title of nice or good, more specifically. As a matter of fact, good was the overarching, right? If somebody could say, he's really good, he's a good guy, right? He's got a good heart. He's just a good kid. If I could get that title, then I won the day. If I was able to get that sense of validation, that was everything for me. And connected to that, under that umbrella of goodness, was niceness, right? He is so nice. I can't believe how nice he is. If I was to hear that, that was my validation, validity. That was my gold star in the middle of the forehead. Well done, sir. Arrivas Dirties. You did your thing. Now, I've now come to a place where me and niceness, we had a bitter and prolonged and nasty divorce, right? I had this tug and pull relationship where I knew I had to separate myself from Nice. I knew I had to leave Nice. I could not stay in relationship with her. I'd known her all my life and she had seemed to serve me in so many ways, but I knew that she was toxic for me. I knew she was no good for me. I knew that our relationship was doomed from the very beginning. And that's because Nice was always there when I was looking for everybody else's approval, everybody else's affections, everybody else's pat on the back, clapping of the hands, and sticking to the gold stars. And for most of my life up to this point, that was a positive. It was a net positive, right? Because I was raised to believe, I was conditioned to believe that the only way I could be valid, the only way I could be worthy of love was to demonstrate myself in a certain way and to gain the affection of other people, right? I was told that it was arrogant, it was selfish, it was conceited, self-centered to celebrate yourself or to find the good in yourself. And so other people had to find that good in me. And so I spent a lifetime waiting and 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 waiting. And I honestly, I started to master the ability to get people to see me as good, get people to see me as a really nice guy. Now, this word nice has been deconstructed in a lot of spaces, right? More often than not in the dating spaces, in the dating realms, in the world of the alpha males and all kinds of stuff, right? That's where I first started really hearing this thing surfacing where it's like, no more Mr. Nice Guy, right? Stop being the nice guy. They don't want you to be nice. However, it's ironic to me that the same circles that we're talking about, stop being nice, stop being the nice guy, she doesn't want a nice guy, it's still about the approval of another person, right? It's still about a relationship. Like, oh, women don't want a nice guy, so don't be a nice guy. That's literally doing something in order for somebody else to have a reaction to you so they can approve of you. And that was the place I first found myself when I was having this bitter divorce with niceness, is I was still seeing it as something I separated myself from in order to still get what it was giving me, right? Which was, again, a sense of approval from others. But it was only when I cracked this code that I could finally let go and heal, truly, truly heal from within. Because when I cracked the code of, dude, nice is nothing more than the opinion of the person that you are currently in interaction or engagement with. Right? Let me break that down. Let me simplify it. I might actually complicate it, but you'll get what I'm talking about. So, who defines nice or who defines goodness? Right? You, me, them, them. I believe that each person will have their own definition, right? Each person is going to have their own definition of what is good based upon their own precepts, their own mentality, their own way of viewing the world, their own relationship dynamics, their own upbringing, their programming, their socialization, etc. That's how that person is going to view nice or goodness, right? One person's goodness is another person's evil. And so when I am striving to be seen and perceived as nice by all these people, I'm actually faking, I'm chameleoning, I'm camouflaging because I'm changing who I am within every interaction and every engagement. I have to. Like there's no other way for me to get everybody to agree that I'm nice when they all have a different opinion Unless I am changing myself in every single one of those interactions, there's no other way. And so when I really realized that to be nice is to be fake, that was the last straw for me. Because one of my core values was authenticity and being real. And I really believed that I was this real person. And so there was a lot of cognitive dissonance, right? My brain was like, yeah, we're here to be real, but we're being all the way phony. We're real, but we're actually phony. And that place was, again, it was dissonance for me. I could not exist in that place, in that space. I could not exist in that place for long enough for me to just continue to perpetuate it. Like it started becoming a literal pain, like physical discomfort in my body, anxiety that continued to perpetuate because I just felt this strain. Like it didn't feel good anymore. What used to serve me literally no longer served me, right? What was once seemingly constructive was now destructive. And that's when I started deconstructing niceness. That's when I started saying to myself, bruh, like all this nice for what? Like all this niceness just to have people to pat you on the back, but at what cost? At the cost of pretending, at the cost of faking, at the cost of being somebody else or being whoever that person needs you to be. Like it got so bad to the point where if I was talking to a far right individual, I would completely absorb myself in their stance. And then I'll be talking to the far leftist and I would find ways to chameleon myself into that conversation, right? Without telling my true stance, my libertarian, I believe in the freedom of rights. I believe I believe in people's right to be all they can be. Like I would alter myself and conform myself to whatever stance you needed me to be because I was afraid. I was afraid that I would no longer get my sense of approval, of validation, if I stopped being nice. Now, I want to read you guys the first page of this book, well, the first page of chapter 1, and this will really define exactly where I'm coming from. So, this is Doing Me Guilt-Free, my very first published book. Now, this is the note-taker's version, the first manuscript. The one you're going to be getting is going to be a small one, right? So when you get your copy, you're going to get the one you can put in your purse, you can put in your bag, you can put in your whatever, under the arm like back in the day, etc. So chapter 1, titled Being Good. For as long as I remember, life for me was nothing more than a mission to collect as many gold stars as humanly possible. Everything I did, every word I spoke, and every thought I ruminated upon served one single purpose. That purpose was the cultivation and the maintenance of quote-unquote goodness. Since the moment of my inception, even before my entire head was completely visible from the canal, I was already on a one-way track to people-pleasing. And though I didn't know it at the moment, I just entered a world that would demand goodness of me the very moment I aged out of the unbelievably adorable phase of infancy. You see, I, like 2.8 billion of my fellow human beings, was born into a fundamentalist religious group, which is a politically correct way of saying a cult. And though my parents meant well and still do, they could not help but indoctrinate me into a self-destructive belief system that would take the next 2.5 decades to strip away from my psyche. Being good, being good, being good, being good. Now, you think to yourself, what's the alternative? To be bad, to be evil? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, goodness, in the sense that I'm using it, or niceness, are the polar opposite of authentic or honest. Honest is the actual polar end. So instead of being nice, you are honest. And honest doesn't mean, talking mess about people and, well, I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it. No. Sometimes you just keeping it real foolish, to be honest, right? Some people just keep it real dumb or real ignorant. What I'm talking about is being genuine to each moment, being genuine in each interaction, each conversation, even if there are consequences to it, right? And I had to learn this in multiple degrees to this very day. As a matter of fact, what I'm going through right now is like a complete test to it. And I will talk about this when the time is right, when it's respecting all parties. But it's like I really had to face myself again and say, are you living authentically? Why are you lying in this relationship, or why are you not being real? And when I say lying, I'm not saying I'm going out of my way to say something that's not honest. What I'm saying is I'm pretending who I am, right? I'm holding my tongue when I wouldn't. I'm agreeing to things that I otherwise would not. I'm not going out and saying, oh, I did this when I didn't do that, etc. but it's the exact same. And when we talk about an inauthenticity, Dr. Gabor Mate, who is, I think he spent like 30 some odd years as a physician, maybe 40. He was almost 100 years old, that man. So impressive. And he talks about how chronic ailments, at the core of them, of just about every chronic ailment, is inauthenticity, lying to ourselves. A lack of honesty with ourselves will literally lead to physical dis-ease because you are continuously in the state of fight or flight. You are releasing these chemicals continuously. You're living in these loops and these cycles that are keeping you bound and constrained. Now, I'm not the expert in this space, and you should go watch him and listen to him really break this down, because he'll break it down all the way. And he's got all the studies behind it, okay? But I even know, as rudimentary as, plain layman's terms as possible, I even understand that when I'm lying to myself, I don't feel good. When I'm not being honest or genuine to myself, I don't feel good. And the only reason I'm not genuine with somebody else is because I'm also lying to myself. I'm afraid of what that person is going to do, what they're going to say. Like if I catch myself in a compromising place and then I look to lie, the only reason is because I'm afraid that that person is going to take their love away from me, or they're going to reject me, or whatever else the consequence may be. But I've come to a point in my life where I said, you know what? Even if everybody who's around me at this moment in time leaves because I'm being honest and genuine, then it's actually worth it. Because would I rather have the people who are here for the fake version of me be around me, or have the few select who are here for the true version of me? And I'll choose the latter every single time. Every single time. So there's that and there's that. Now again, my very first published book, boom, Doing Me Guilt-Free, breaking free from people pleasing and unleashing your personal power. I'm going to link this in the description below, and I will also link the course that is connected to this. So there's going to be the individual who goes through this and they say, yes, I'm ready. I'm going to walk in this. Now I need a guide. And that's why I created the course that follows up with this. This is literally a hand holding experience for 8 weeks straight, where you are literally diving into becoming that person who's walking in your personal power. And I'm not just saying that from my own mouth. This is from the individuals who have gotten the experience themselves, those who have gotten to work with me through my coaching, those who've gone through the course, etc., etc. So that being said, much love. Till the next time, namaste and namaste.